Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, okay. I thought that I was here by myself. We good. Meeting is called to order. Need the notice of meetings statement by Commissioner Coher.
A meeting notice announcing the date, time, and place of June 20th, 2024. Commission meeting was distributed on June 19th, 2024. The appropriate media and other groups or individuals have requested notification. The announcement and agenda was posted at the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs Central Administrative Office and on the website. The public has been notified that accommodations such as interpreters, mobility assistance, and other assistance will be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
Invocation by Thomas.
Thank you. I'm here. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve. We thank you for the insights that staff and other government officials have provided. Guide and direct, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Tab 2, approval of the commission meeting minutes. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any questions?
Aye.
Any questions?
I only have a statement, which is
Statement?
both. We need to do both minutes at the same time, and I don't know if we did that.
You have two sets.
We have two sets of
We
minutes.
have two sets of minutes.
All right, tab 2, both of them, yes.
So under tab 2, we have 1 and 2, May 23rd, 2024, special called commission meeting, and May 16, 2024, monthly commission meeting. Do I still have a second? Motion?
You have a motion?
Second.
And second. Okay, we missed one. Let's go back before we do that. Adoption of the agenda. I thought we did a motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Tab 2, item 6. We already have a motion and a second. All right, ready for the question? Are there any statements, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Number 7, Commissioners' update. Commissioner Malfris.
I think I will not update this time, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Coher.
Pass.
Commissioner Thomas.
Just very briefly, Mr. Chairman, I had been talking to a number of individuals about where we stand relative to the passage of legislation that might affect us. Do you want me to do that at this point, or wait till a later time in the agenda?
Let's place that at the legislative update.
Okay, so at a later time, then just call on me at that time.
I most certainly will. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Woodhead.
I just have an announcement that there is a Clemson wheelchair tennis tournament July 19th, 20th, and 21st. So encourage all South Carolinians who can attend, and even outside of South Carolina. And then if you just want to find out where it's at, you can go on to the Clemson's Adaptive Sports link. That was it.
Thank you. My only comments, over the course of the past year, I've received, when we held our meetings, I've received several emails in reference to issues that impact those that we serve. And I would just like to take this moment to thank State Director Constance Holloway and the entire executive staff, to include all employees of DDSN. You handle it very, very professionally. And how do I know that? Because I would either receive an email back or a telephone conversation or a combination of both. And I just wanted to make that known, that we as commissioners appreciate your work and your efforts. Thank you very, very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is nomination for officers. I need a motion to approve for chairman, vice chairman, and secretary.
Need a motion to approve names, or I'm not understanding.
No, we are electing the officers, so I need a motion.
Okay, to elect them.
Mr. Chairman, I so move. David here.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, are we in favor of,
Aye.
electing officers now, or are we in favor of who's going to be elected officers?
We in favor of electing officers.
Okay, well, I'm in favor of electing officers. Go ahead.
Okay. First up is the chairman. I get a motion for the chairman.
Mr. Chairman, this
Yes,
is
sir.
David. And I could do it in one fell swoop, like ditto. For everybody that we've got, I think has done a good job in a difficult, hard year. I move Eddie Miller and for chairman, and vice chairman the same. And was the other one secretary? What was the title of the
Secretary. Third one is
Yeah,
secretary.
third one. And I think that is that Michelle. Is that
No, it's Coher.
It's Coher.
is a lot? Well, let me just do it. Let me just do it that way. I nominate Commissioner Chairman, current Chairman Miller for re-election.
Motion is on the floor. All in favor for Eddie Miller to be the chairman?
Aye.
I said
Aye.
Barry abstains from voting.
Okay.
And please let the record reflect that, please, Christie.
Okay. Now the ayes, so we do it individually since it's going that way. Mr. Thomas,
Aye.
Mr. Coher,
Aye.
Chairman Woodhead.
Aye.
The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion for vice chairman.
I move that Michelle Wood be vice chairman.
I get a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Secretary, I need a motion.
I believe it is currently. This is David. Currently, Dr. Coher. Is that correct?
Coher's fine with me, so I would say that's fine.
Second.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. There's no public input. Item number 10, Commission Committee Business, Finance and Audit Committee, and that's Chair Michelle Woodhead.
Yep, we had our Finance and Audit Committee meeting June 12th, earlier this month, and we had a lot of stuff that we went through, and we have a couple things on the table that we do need to put a motion to approve, and I'll ask Quincy to come on up and talk about the first few, the budget plan versus actual, and some of the things that we need approved.
Good morning, Commissioners. Okay, so under tab 3, the first item we're going to go through is an update to our year-to-date performance of the adopted fiscal year 24 spending plan, which is in the amount of $329 million. So through May 31st, the agency has spent approximately $314 million in agency cash, which puts the agency over the commission-approved spending plan levels by approximately 3.84%. I did want to note that this is somewhat misleading, as there is a slight timing issue that's causing expenditures to be overstated by approximately $3.5 million. As you're aware, DDSN has an administrative contract with the Department of Health and Human Services, in which DDSN is reimbursed for administrative costs to perform certain administrative functions for are the waivers we operate. So that equates to approximately $4.5 million in cash to $5 million in cash per year. So once the agency receives the payment for the second and third quarter expenditures that we've billed to them, that's a difference of the budget being over from 3.84% down to 2.78%. So once we get that money in and we do the journal entries to reimburse those expenditures, we're really only about 2.78% over through May. So technically, we're still slightly above spending plan levels. So, but once the dust settles with year end, I'll look back on and give an accounting of what items or categories in the detailed spending plan were over for this year. So we'll know when we're building in the next spending plan to include those items. So, does anybody have any questions about this?
What percentage you say we were overspent right now?
2.78%.
Is it, I didn't see that on the sheet. Does it reflect?
Well, it's 3.84 on the sheet, but we've got some issues or some timing issues with journal entries.
Oh, it will be.
It will, it's really 2.78% if you factor in the revenue or the reimbursement that DHHS is going to make for our expenditures for those administrative functions that we do for the waiver.
Thank you.
All right. So the next item under tab 4 is our financial approval and threshold report for June. We have 2 items up for consideration today. The first is under bullet point number 1, the new non-service contracts, 200,000 or greater. As we've discussed in recent history, the House Legislative Oversight recommended several years ago, I think it was around 2018, that DDSN kind of extricate itself from owning real estate. So that being said, DDSN still owns 59 properties that are spread out all over the state. Just this week, the State Fiscal Accountability Authority conveyed 2 properties to one of our qualified providers. So that leaves us with 57 properties now. So very soon, DDSN won't be receiving reoccurring funds for a lot of those properties to be able to maintain them. So it's our, we were kind of charged with getting ourselves out of that. So I contacted 3 or 4 of our providers about these properties, engaged their interest in taking ownership of the properties. Some providers, they were for it, while others had legitimate concerns that these properties needed work. And multiple providers were not willing to accept conveyance until they are in an acceptable state of repair. So there's a current proviso out there that says we have to have a memorandum of understanding or agreement signed with the provider for them to accept conveyance before the State Fiscal Accountability Authority will approve it. So in order for the providers to kind of buy into this, it's my goal to come up with a win-win solution for everybody that's involved. So the first step in that process is our first item that's up for consideration today. It's a new non-service contract. It's a one-time expense for the agency. We're proposing we use our non-recurring carry forward from last fiscal year to procure building condition assessments for these 57 properties. Some of them are administrative buildings, some of them are community residences, some of them are program buildings. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of different buildings, but we want an assessment of each of the buildings. This company that we're proposing to do this will issue a final report for each property that will be used to prioritize the needs for each of those properties. And once we receive that assessment, the agency will use that as supporting documentation for either a capital reserve fund request or a non-recurring request in the 26 budget. So in conjunction with an allocation to providers and spot conveyance, I hope that the providers will buy into taking these properties. So I wanted to inform the commission of this plan upon approval, and I will notify the 27 providers at our Monday meeting if you guys approve us to go forward with the assessment. So you want to vote on each item or all of them together?
Just one at a time, I think would be best.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have any questions on this.
I just want to say this request is for non-recurring funds and it's only for the assessment. It's
Just
not
the
for-
assessment piece. We'll figure out how much it's going to cost in totality for these 57 properties. And then we can, we'll have a number. And then you guys will vote if you want to include that in our budget request for the 26 budget.
Yeah, that we'd have to have a budget request, correct?
Yes, it'll just be
If it was
used
not
for
approved,
the,
what would happen then?
I'm sorry?
If that budget request was not approved, what would happen
I
then?
guess it would depend on how much it comes back at, because if we have enough cash in our non-recurring carry forward to use, we may not go and do a budget request, but it was their intention for us to get out of the real estate business with House oversight and with legislative oversight. So I really would like to bring this to them so they buy into us doing this whole process, right? So
And there is a current proviso too for us to do.
there is 36.6. No, yeah, I think it's 36.6.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think this is a win-win.
Yeah, and we'll get, Monday when we talk to providers, we'll get, their feedback on the plan that we've kind of come up with. And then I talked to a few providers and they seemed okay with it, but we'll get everybody's interest, on Monday.
I'll make a motion to approve this plan.
All right, it came with a motion and a second.
Okay.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
All right, and so under the second bullet point, it's for existing service contracts that are 200,000 or greater. So we are asking to renew our coastal center janitorial housekeeping services. The contract proposed is a 3-year contract with a total value of 250,000, so that's 83,000 a year. Currently, this contract's running around 75,000 a year, so the increase is projected to be about 8,000 per year. So with your approval, DDSN will put out a solicitation for this contract.
This is normal routine.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
this is normal routine that goes on and
There's nothing different new with this request.
let everyone know.
Commissioners?
Any other questions?
Any-
No, I have no other questions.
This also came with a
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
All right, that moves us to tab number 5, the fiscal year 25 contracts that are over $200,000. So we normally bring you about 8 to 10 contracts every year that are historically the commission approves in June of every year. We present these contracts which need authorization for renewal for July. The remaining contracts are normally presented as part of the spending plan in August. It gets a lot more detailed in August. So there's only one item on this list with changes from fiscal year 24 to 25, and that's the USC CDR contract, which increased by increased by 25,000. The rest remain the same as the prior year. I'll take a pause and let you guys look over those 8 contracts and let me know if you have any questions about that.
Commissioners?
I only had one question about them. That is, the last one here for Palmetto Psychiatry, that's Palmetto Psychiatry Consultants. Did we ever rebid that out for anybody else, or we just allow that person, I mean, do we ever even try to find other psychiatrists, or we don't really, only if they contact us?
I think with these medical type, they're exempt, I think, from certain items. We use that master exemption to do that, but I think we've typically used this company. I don't know if I know there are more psychiatrists we use on the consultant agreement side and, at the regional centers, but I don't know if this is kind of a special.
It is for
It is for regional centers? And we have, so This is who we typically use.
For all regional centers? The other ones use somebody else?
And that'll be done with the spending plan. Because we have all different types of consultants that, they don't rise to the 200,000, 250,000 level. They're smaller than that, but we still present them in totality in August as part of the spending plan. But since this is over the $200,000 threshold, this is the one that's presented to you guys,
Right.
kind of separately.
Any other?
The contract with Greenwood Genetics, that's not a fee for service, I understand. I really don't understand how the funding is provided for them. Is that a number that's?
So it's kind of a mixture. So the General Assembly funds non-reoccurring for them. There's also a reoccurring line item in our budget. It is kind of fee for service. We bill the claims on their half. It kind of goes in line with what we're mandated to do as far as prevention purposes. But they kind of have their own line for some of this 11.945. And then some of it is also non-reoccurring that they also submit. So this is kind of a mixture of a couple of different line items in our budget, which it could change because the budget's not final yet. So the non-reoccurring portion, but yeah, this is for mostly fee for service. That's the majority of their contract.
Are they private or government entity?
They're a private, I think, nonprofit, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I know they had some kind of merger with MUSD. I don't know if it was a merger or like a collaboration. So something happened recently. I'd have to kind of do more research on that and see exactly how MUSD and
Do you have any idea how many people this serves directly?
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't have figures on.
It seems like a big.
Yeah, I mean, I can put together some utilization information on what we bill on their behalf to Medicaid.
That's fine. If everybody's satisfied with it, I'm satisfied. It just seems like a relatively large number to me.
Yeah, it's typically in this range. It hasn't really changed in the last few years. The only thing that kind of changes is that non-reoccurring portion. I think they're in year 5 of a 5-year, $10 million non-reoccurring. So $2 million of this is part of that. So, yeah.
Piggybacking from what he just said, I would love to know what I didn't know there was a change they had combined with somebody, so if you could check on that and let us know that.
Yeah, I can get you the information.
But it is, as far as I know, from somebody that used to be on that commission, it is a nonprofit organization. It's not a government agency, it's a nonprofit organization.
Okay. Commissioner Thomas, you good?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. And this came with a motion and a second. All in favor? Ayes have it, so ordered.
That's all for me, I think. Courtney is up.
Okay.
Next, we'll go over Courtney's internal audit.
Courtney comes up, FYI, it's her birthday. Courtney's birthday is today.
Well, everybody say happy birthday to Courtney.
Thank you.
Well, cancer is right on your heel.
All right, so I've shared a copy of the proposed audit plan for fiscal year 25 with you all. The plan is an outline of individual audit projects to be conducted during the year. So it was developed based on current audit resources and capabilities. And the last page there includes a schedule of estimated audit resources. So our audit projects are selected using a risk-based approach, and it includes consideration of commission and management requests. We've broken the projects down into DDSN areas and the provider network, and the tables include preliminary objectives for each project. The preliminary objectives are general, and specific objectives for each audit will be determined during audit planning using an engagement level risk assessment. In the schedule of planned engagements for DDSN areas, we've noted several engagements that will address recommendations made by the Legislative Audit Council. So when you're looking at the audit plan, you see LAC in parentheses after a couple of engagements. So that's where we'll address those. The plan also dedicates hours to follow-up procedures, to consumer funds and personal property training for the provider network, and general administrative activities. So this includes things like continuing education requirements from our IAA standards and updating our internal procedures manual for changes in the Red Book. So we have until January to implement new standards, and we'll be updating our procedures manual to take care of that. We also reserve some hours for unplanned audits and technical assistance visits that may be requested during the year. The plan is designed to be flexible, and it may be updated for changes in priorities or audit resources. So we would bring any significant changes to the plan to you for review and approval. So in accordance with our internal audit charter, which is DDSN Directive 27505, we present the annual audit plan to the state director, to the Finance and Audit Committee, and the full commission for approval. So we received approval from Director Holloway, and the plan was also approved at last Wednesday's Finance and Audit Committee meeting. So we're now requesting approval for the fiscal year 25 audit plan from the commission.
Commissioners?
I wanted to say that I think that before we go into approve it, that the list was, I think it was great. It's very aggressive, and I think that all these things are very, very important. And we confirmed last at the finance meeting that you will have enough people to perform all the hours that you have here, whether or not you have to hire out a couple, temporaries and stuff.
We actually had 3 new auditors start on Monday, so we're excited to have them with us, and I'm looking forward to accomplishing this plan with their help.
Congratulations.
That was it.
Okay. Came with a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So ordered. Commissioner Thomas, you want to go before Mr. McBurney or afterwards?
Well, I'll just let me just jump in for just a few minutes, and this won't take very long. By way of legislative update, I've been trying to converse with a number of legislators. Have been successful in doing that, and the issue was, and Rob can more speak to total accuracy, because Tuesday was a day that I think some caucus activity may have been going on. I was told that the caucuses weren't going to happen, but then I was told only Sunday that they were still on in the House. Don't know what the Senate did. Relative to S-915, it and other legislation, I think, got caught up in the sine dime deadline. It did not pass. Whether it's on some future agenda, Rob can tell you if that has changed from the time Rob and I last talked, which was the answer was no. But we'll see. I mean, there was a real big push to do that. There's kind of a change of the equilibrium over on the House side, because there's a separate caucus. I won't say it's a competing caucus to the Republican caucus. I'll just say that that particular caucus, I believe, has probably picked up some seats. In any case, I think we have, it's been an interesting legislative year last year. It to some degree put us in a freeze mode, as the commissioners are aware, because if you're told, well, this legislation with 5 or 6 other health entities in the state are going to be under a czar, well, that kind of put a freeze on some of the things some of us might have been interested. If basically there was a termination in our jobs as commissioners, as appointed by the governor, then things change. Well, I think what we are seeing is that we need to step on the accelerator as commissioners a little bit more now that the legislation hasn't passed, at least for the time being, and not overly assume anything. And so I think projects that the commission was interested in, so forth and so on, we need to operate pretty much full steam ahead. And then, we didn't speak to the issue officially or even unofficially, as far as I know, on the legislation itself, which for simplicity's sake, there was a House bill and a Senate bill, Mr. Chairman, and what ended up being landing in the House was S 915. So if you hear somebody speak of 915, they're not speaking probably of the time of day. They're speaking of the legislation that ended at sine die, 3 weeks ago now. So Rob can continue to fill you in on, precisely where we are, and if things have changed from the last time Rob and I talked about, Rob, I think it was probably 6 or 7 days ago on this subject. There may have been some changes. So I stand to be set straight on whatever, and Rob's probably got the information.
Right on.
Carol ought to be back, by the way, from her vacation, so she will be available to give us some information too as soon as she comes up to speak. Okay, Mr. Chairman, that's it, and I will turn it back over to the chairman, and if you want to have Rob speak at this point.
Okay, to piggyback onto what Senator Thomas said, it's going to be a short update. Being that nothing has really happened, we're in a period of waiting right now, and everything that the legislature is doing for the remainder of this legislative session revolves around the budget and coming up with a state budget. When we met last, I told you they were going to meet again on June the 5th. They did. They elected a Supreme Court justice. And in that afternoon, the conference committee for the budget met for the first time in a first real work session. They got through about half the provisos that day. They agreed to come back on June the 12th and work on the provisos again. On June the 12th, they basically got through the provisos, which is Part 1B of the budget. That's half the budget. At the end of that meeting, the House Ways and Means chairman basically said they were far apart on the spreadsheets, on the numbers and the spreadsheets, when we call the spreadsheets, those are the numbers of the budget, of the funding priorities of both houses. So, they continued to work with the staff after that meeting to look at ways where they could balance the budget and get, most of everybody's priorities through that day. But they adjourned that day at the call of the chair, which means when they have when one body or the other has something that they want to bring to the conference committee as a proposed resolution, they will do it, and the chairman will call a meeting. The House and Senate were scheduled to meet on June the 18th, which was Tuesday of this week. They did not. Senator Thomas pointed out that a lot of other meetings happened those days. They have meetings scheduled around those things, caucus meetings. We had a children's committee meeting and several other things that went on those days, but the House and Senate did not meet. And that meeting was basically to take up the budget. They had planned on having a budget at that point in time. They do not at this point. So while we have resolution on one half of the budget, the spending priorities, we don't have resolution, and we don't know when we are going to have resolution. Because like I said, we're at the call of the chair. When the two sides, when there's something that they think will work, that they want to bring to the conference committee, they will bring it to them and propose an agreement for the budget and see if they can agree. Until then, So what happens, the question then becomes what happens July 1st if they don't have a budget by July 1st? Both houses have passed what we call a continuing resolution. The continuing resolution basically funds the government at the level that it was last year and no more. And so we would continue, the state government would continue to operate, everybody would continue to get paid, everybody come to work. The same as it would, they just wouldn't, the changes that were made for this budget year would not be a part of the budget until they come up with a budget. Now, they can come up with a budget after July 1st. But, you know, knock on wood, they come up with something. The governor has 8 days for vetoes after they meet, they approve the budget. The governor has 8 days on the vetoes, so then the budget would, but once the governor's veto message comes out, the budget is considered to be passed. Everything that doesn't involve the governor's vetoes is not encumbered by the governor's vetoes, then can be funded in the budget. So that's what we're waiting on. That's the situation that they're not going to meet. The legislature's not going to meet until they have a budget to take up. That's the long and short of it. Any questions?
Have you heard anything about, I mean, is there any rumor in any newspaper or anything about a special session for this year?
No, they're just, like I said, the main thing they're trying to do right now is just have a budget. They're going into overtime right now. Doesn't necessarily, even if they had a budget agreement today, given the veto window, you'd be talking about past July 1st probably.
It's very unlikely they would take up 915 this year.
They could take it up when they meet, but like I said, I don't know whether they would do that or not. Like I said, being that they're in overtime, schedules, legislators tend to plan on schedules that don't go into July. So they generally don't like to meet a whole lot in July if they have to.
What we'll do as a commission is what Commissioner Thomas recommended we operate as a commission and keep moving forward.
Continue forward. And that's as it is with any legislation. The legislature can change the law at any time they want to, but the law is, you continue with the law as it's written until it's changed.
Exactly.
And so, that's the way it always is with any change of the law. So that's where we are.
Commissioner Corey, you had.
And just in general, as our commissioners expire their terms, nothing happens, you just keep going because.
Okay, the law on that is you fill an expired term until you are either reappointed by the governor or the governor nominates somebody else. So it's up to that is up to the governor.
Commissioner Thomas, anything else?
No, that's it. Rob did a great job. The finances, how we are obviously tied into the budget. So, I'm presuming all the finance people are all up to speed, and Constance up to speed on what that might do to us. So the next time we meet, we'll probably be talking about impact that let's assume for a moment the budget does not pass. Then we're operating off the continuing budget. I only saw that happen the time I was in the legislature, I think one time. So this would be very unusual. And
last time we operated on a continuing resolution was COVID. The COVID year they did not.
the time I was in the Senate, I think it was only one time that I believe that there was the threat of it 8 or 10 times, but it always went away. And but I think we only operate. I might be wrong about that. I'm fuzzy because that takes me back like 40, 30 something years. I might be incorrect, but anyway, that would impact us, and so obviously our staff, Constance knows, how that would change the numbers and operating, and then we would need to be told, okay, here's the outcome of operating under a continuing resolution. So y'all watch closely, and we'll get the lowdown as soon as there's a finalization, as soon as the game is over, which it looks like if they don't get it resolved, it really would kind of surprise me. It would tell me there are deeper issues than just some number question marks that disagree between House and Senate. But I haven't tried to get into what is really deeply going on between the House and the Senate. So we'll find out. This is a fascinating time to be observing the South Carolina legislature. But that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. And Rob's done a great job every time I've called to talk to him. He's been prompt in responding, and I thank him for his expertise and speedy response back to me. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Senator Thompson. One other item. The only under the guise of this hasn't been approved yet, so it is not law. So we wait until we have a budget until it's approved. But I mentioned last commission meeting, Senator Bennett had put in a proviso that would help get a plan together for renovations at the regional centers that would streamline the JBRC process for us for getting those renovations done. That has been approved by both houses of this. When I talked about the proviso section, that proviso was accepted by both houses. So when the budget is finally voted on, that is in the budget currently to be funded, but we cannot, obviously we can't move forward on it, until we have a budget because it's not the law yet.
Thank you very, very much. All right. And this commission would keep our ear tuned to Commissioner Thomas so he can keep us updated. Thank you very, very much. All right, next item on the agenda, meeting frequency, Legislative Audit Council recommendation. That says Ms. Courtney Crosby. Happy birthday again.
Thank you. So as you all know, internal audit has been following up on recommendations made during the LAC's last audit of the agency. So part one of the LAC report cited an increase in commission expenses. The report stated that from 2016 to 2021, commissioner per diem and travel expenses increased by 60% due to an increase in commission-related meetings. So for reference, the report provides annual totals with 2016 commissioner per diem and travel reimbursements totaling $12,530. And for 2021, the annual total was $31,405. So the report attributes the increase in reimbursements to a rise in the frequency of commission meetings from 17 in 2016 to 53 in 2021. So I will note that does include subcommittee meetings. The LAC made two recommendations related to meeting frequency. So the first was that the commission should ensure that meetings are scheduled in such a way that days of travel for commissioners are reduced. And the second was that the commission should limit meetings to only those that are necessary to conduct business for the agency. So the current commission bylaws state that commission meetings may be monthly or at other times the chairman or a majority of the commission may direct. So as you may recall, the Finance and Audit Committee and Commission recently approved changes to committee procedures to provide for quarterly meetings after we researched Finance and Audit Committee meeting frequency of other state agencies. So we have completed similar research on full board and commission meeting frequency. We reviewed the meeting schedules for 13 state agencies that are governed by boards or commissions. And we determined that their board or commission meets on average 6.69 times per year. So based on the LAC's recommendation and the average meeting frequency, we wanted to bring this to the commission for discussion. So I do want to emphasize that this is for information purposes only. We're not asking for a vote today. We would just like for the commission to provide some guidance to staff on future meeting frequency. So would the commission be open to bi-monthly meeting frequency or meeting 6 times per year? And if so, would the commission want staff to prepare changes to the bylaws for commission review and approval at the next meeting? So even with a shift to bi-monthly meetings, the bylaws allow for additional meetings at the discretion of the chairman or a majority of the commission.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
There's a lot of practical reasons not.
One second. I got to recognize Commissioner
ahead.
Thomas. Go ahead, Commissioner Thomas.
Just one quick question of her. So the amount of money per year that this would save if we go to a different meeting, a typical meeting schedule, would be how many thousands per year would be saved under the Legislative Audit Council report?
I phoned a friend yesterday and Quincy pulled some numbers for me. So he came up with $375 as the average monthly per commissioner billing. So that if we were to have a full commission with 7 members and monthly meetings, we're looking at $31,500. If we had a full commission with bi-monthly meetings, it would be $15,750. So it's a savings of about $16,000.
What was it last year?
Let's see, 2024, he's got $9,630.
That's the pivot hole, isn't it? Let me see. That might be. No, that's this year so far in 2024, but 2023, a full year was 25,000.
25,000?
Yeah.
25,000.
But that wasn't a full commission.
The new changes in the schedule for the finance and policy quarterly meetings or as needed, was that put into the calculations for the estimate of savings?
No. So this is just commission expense.
I didn't want to overlook. Barry.
Thank you, sir. I think there's a lot of practical reasons not to do that. I think, first of all, to say there was 7 members, and if there were 7 members, we'd save this much money. There's not 7 members, so that's misleading, in my opinion. There's probably not going to be 7 members for a long time, if ever again, based on the legislative situation right now. And so you can't say that's what that would save because we don't have 7 members. Now, some people say we did have too many subcommittee meetings a couple of years ago, but that's changed a lot. And so the amounts of money that the Legislative Audit Council put on those reports are completely misleading compared to what it is now. And there's a lot of reasons that we had all those meetings, but I won't get into all that. But I will say, most importantly, that we've had many Legislative Audit Council type reports, meaning in November of 2018, we had a Legislative Oversight Committee report. In 2017, we had a Senate Medical Affairs Committee report, and all those reports have recommendations in them. Some of those we have accepted, some of those we have not accepted, and all of those recommendations of the current reports we've had, we can either accept or reject, and we've accepted some of those and rejected some of those. So I think that David just said a minute ago that we needed to step on the gas as far as this commission doing its duty now that we exist. And so stepping on the gas is certainly not decreasing the meetings by any more than we already have. We only had 6 or 7 meetings last year. Sorry.
not his birthday.
Sorry. I thought I turned it off. We only had 6 or 7 meetings last year. I mean, the practical reasons not to do this is that we only have 5 members of this commission. The commission she's talking about have a lot more than 5 members. If we set a meeting for 3 months from now to meet, and 2 of our commission members, for whatever reason, cannot meet, we cannot meet. So we need to have meetings whenever we can have meetings, it would seem to me. Now, as far as subcommittee meetings, I would be completely open to having bi-monthly subcommittee meetings. But and last thing to say about that is as far as the calendar goes, there's just a lot of things. I hope we don't vote on anything today or do anything else today about this matter except to take it under advisement, because there's a lot of things to say about the calendar and when we would actually meet. Would it be every other month? Would it be, what months they would be? Because obviously you probably wouldn't want to meet in December, but you probably wouldn't want to meet in January. And I mean, there's a lot of other things to say, except that the amount of money they're talking about we spend for this commission, and I won't get into what vote it was, but in one vote 2 years ago, we saved more money for this commission than we'll ever spend in commission expenses. And I could get into that vote if you want me to.
Here's what we'll do, if you don't mind. I would like for each commissioner to get with Courtney and come up with a recommendation by the next meeting, and then we can vote at that time. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think though, for us to actually get, a better understanding, because I know this is just like a proposal based on, other commissions. If we could get I think we should get the estimate of costs, assuming it's a full commission. And that's simply because you have to estimate always for the full amount, not for what we have today. Because in essence, that would, we're asking also to change, the bylaws, but that would be, so we need to have a full commission, but if we could estimate, just take into consideration how much it is with already the reduced policy and finance meetings that we've had. So then we can just get a little bit, I think you said you had a 300 something per commissioner. Well, let's just, kind of see actually what numbers we're really dealing with. So we would know, let's say if we did, just for sake, so we would know if we reduced it to 6 meetings or 7 meetings, what would the actual savings be based on what we've already made in the reductions. I think that would just give us a better picture of what the financial piece part of it looks like, at least that part of it. But like Barry said, I think it's important, certain months are very important. So obviously we wouldn't jump into changing each, every other month, because I think that would eliminate probably some of the important ones that we would want to make sure we're here for. But that was just kind of what I.
Thank you. One last thing that's very important about this matter about spending money and the commission members. If I need to apologize for having to spend more money because I'm disabled, then let me do that. But that is also misleading, because this commission spends more money per year because of me. But the law says that I have the, based on the Freedom of Information Act, that I have a motel room every month and things of that nature. So if anybody wants to complain to me about that, I'm happy to talk about that too. And so that also misleads these numbers, just for the record.
Thank you. And what we'll do is.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, so your recommendation, I think, is a good idea to sort of turn in our responses and bring them up at the next meeting. But let me tell y'all something now. We are tangentially. I mean, we approve a lot of stuff. It's basically a staff-driven agency. However, we have responsibilities. We're appointed by the governor appointed by the governor, approved by the South Carolina State Senate. I can assure you about this $1 billion budget. If something goes wrong, or if there's something that happens out in the world and somebody gets hurt and there are issues, and we maybe are only meeting once every 2 months, and the media calls and they say, why didn't you all do something about this? Because it was the information was about. If we say, well, we were told we were meeting too much and we needed to cut $10 or $12 or $15,000 from out of our commission operating budget, the criticism of being $10,000 or $12,000 too high every year, the criticism will turn on a dime, and we will be attacked for why weren't you meeting? Why weren't you on top of these issues? Well, because we weren't getting every month information, and that is no excuse. And I guarantee you, the worm will turn, and suddenly, why was Commissioner Malphus, when he was chairman of the policy committee, trying to push through all the policy analyses and changes? Because the LAC, when was it, Barry? About 10 years ago, said these need to be updated. So we were in a hurry to do what we had been told to do by the LAC, and that was one of the reasons we were having meetings that brought Barry into. So Barry, you don't need to apologize for anything. You were the hardest working guy I've ever seen, and pushing your committee and the staff to do what we've been told to do. Well, so I just want to point out that when we're coming up with these recommendations, there's certain agendas that are out there, and that I'm sure LAC had lots of good things that they could recommend. Big agency, you're going to have stuff like that. But we also have a responsibility, and we have to understand that we are not beholden to what an auditing group says about how we conduct business in a $1 billion agency with the lives of thousands of people that we are responsible for. And I don't apologize for a minute for working hard. That's about what that amounts to. Now, the how we do it, maybe there are questions about whether a commissioner could come in and take somebody, a staffer's time, and I understand all that. So I think that's where some of the money that we are talking about. But I'm a bit venting right now because if we don't work hard, we are subject to criticism. And by working hard, I mean, if necessary, getting information on a monthly basis. That's basically what it amounted to for me. Often I didn't even turn in a request for money. I mean, I just figure it's not that much, and I'm not going to worry about it. And I would say, Chairman, your idea is a good one. I'm going to turn mine in, and I hope everybody else does. But the idea of an arbitrary, we're not only going to meet, except I'd rather it be a regular thing unless the call of the chair. I trust Eddie here, Mr. Chairman, to say we really don't have a packed agenda. Here's information pieces that Constance is going to send out to keep you abreast of anything that might be hot ticket items. And then if we need to meet, we meet. But to just limit ourselves, I think is asking for trouble. Okay, I'll shut up, but that's kind of where I come down on this particular issue.
Okay, and let me just do this. In the essence of time, I'm going to ask Commissioner Coher to get with individual commissioners and get with Courtney. And I heard what Commissioner Thomas has stated. And know this, if there is a need for a meeting, we will have a meeting so that there's no issues there. There's never been any, and there never will be any. So with that, let's just move on and then get with, and then at the next meeting, come back with a good recommendation, and then we can vote on it and move forward. Okay? All right. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
All right. Director's update, Director Holloway.
last time Rob took us late into the afternoon.
I was going to tell him, when he brought us through the canal, we didn't touch neither side, so we appreciate that.
So good morning, everyone. This has been a very busy month for DDSN, very fast-moving month. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to provide an update on what we're doing. I'm gonna first start with what we're doing at our regional centers. Billings Regional Centers entertain their consumers with outdoor trips to their sensory garden and a field day filled with sports and activities on their campus. In the upstate, our Witten Regional Center took their residents to cheer on the Greenville Drive, which is is that a minor league baseball team? For a fun evening of baseball and a field trip to the South Carolina State Museum. Accessibility morning to enjoy interactive exhibits and activities. At Salibi Center, in addition to the fun things they did, like unveiling a new gazebo that serves as a great place to relax, play games, listen to music, and enjoy the outdoors. They also welcomed a new facility administrator, Joyce DeVoe. Joyce was already employed with DDSN, and now she's the facility director for Salibi Regional Center. Coastal Regional Center reopened their pool, allowing consumers to beat the heat and enjoy the summer weather. DDSN last month was a proud sponsor and support the 2024 Impact South Carolina Self-Advocacy Conference in Columbia. More than 150 self-advocates, family members, and staff attended along with representatives from many DSN boards and qualified providers. The conference featured sessions on employment, transportation, money management, and other topics important to independent living. The autism team continues to work hard. They are diligently working to decrease the waiting time for autism evaluation in South Carolina. Over the past year, they have increased the number of evaluations completed by 37%. Also, the autism department, Stephanie continues to do multiple seminars and guest lectures around the state. Some of those for this month included, she went to the Healthy Blue of South Carolina program. She also attended Furman University. She also attended Spartanburg Local Early Intervention System members. PJ and his group have been very, very busy this month. Some of the outreach and education events that they have done is the Impact Conference that I just previously mentioned, the South Carolina State Museum Accessibility Morning, the Sensory Morning and Family Fun Day at Aiken Historical Museum, the Worldwide Elder Abuse Day Walk for 300 plus participants at the Department of Aging and the Department of Social Services. In exciting news, so this month, I mentioned earlier Courtney's birthday, but this month is more than half of the executive staff's birthday. So Rob's
And mine's
and yours.
June 27th.
Rob's birthday was June 8th, Janet's June 13th, Christy Lingard's June 17th, Greg Metz, June 18th. Courtney's birthday is today, in addition with Liz Lamont. My birthday is Saturday, June 22nd. And Carolyn is June 29th, and Commissioner Miller's is June 27th. Yesterday we had a June birthday celebration where we enjoyed, well, they didn't eat the fruit. I bought fruit because some of these people on a diet all the time, but nobody ate the fruit that I bought. So we had an ice cream cake and some fruit. And so I just wanted to make mention that I wanted to celebrate their birthdays and show them I appreciate all the hard work that they continue to do. I mean, Janet and I were in a conference. We attended what's the letters, Janet? NASD.
DDDS.
Which is a national conference for all the disability directors. We attended that last week along with Ann Dalton in DC. So Janet was working on her birthday. Courtney's working on her birthday. I don't plan on working on my birthday. Next week, I will be out of commission. I will be in Jamaica. So y'all can call, but I will not answer. Quincy's going to be in charge while I'm going away. So we continue to work hard. We look forward to continuing if our budget gets passed, when our budget gets passed, I should say. And we'll be ready to start the new fiscal year, starting July 1st.
Thank you. Well, next week, since you mentioned sports and athletics, Monday through Thursday, I'll be in Atlanta. And,
You'll be paying for the Braves?
well, Otis Nixon, we have it's a camp for young potentials. And Otis Nixon, who played professional baseball, he's having one camp. L.T. Taylor, Lawrence Taylor is doing the football camp, and Shaq O'Neal is doing the basketball camp. So I'll make sure that Shaq is aware of South Carolina Department of Disabilities and Special Needs for the state of South Carolina. With that, next meeting is scheduled for July 18, 2024 at 10 a.m. I need a motion to adjourn if we have no further business of this commission.
So moved.
I get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So ordered. Meeting adjourned.